Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Our guest today is Ryan from nomados.ai. They're trying to create the first Nomad OS, aka operating system, and kind of bring everything that a nomad would need under one roof. Ryan, how's it going today?
It's going great. Thanks for having me, Vance. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. When I heard what you were building, I definitely wanted to get you on the pod. I love kind of this confluence of the nomad world and also the startup world because I feel like you're really taking sort of a startup angle with it. But I wanna hit you with a sort of a softball to get started. How do you have 1.1 million Twitter followers? What is the story there?
I get that question a lot. I've been in the travel industry for a long time. And at one point, we were working with a company that was just purely more of a travel for tourism kind of company. We were doing some marketing with them, and ultimately, they were kind of getting out of the business. We took over. We took over the site. Candidly, we don't have 1.1 million in amazing engagement there for Twitter, but anyway, taking it over, building it out now, kind of going a different direction. If you scroll low enough, you'll start to get into more touristy stuff, which was another company that we founded.
I'm just curious because you know how you can buy followers on Instagram and lots of people have like 70,000 followers, whatever. You don't see that too much on Twitter. You don't see people with like absurd follower accounts on Twitter. You have like John Cena. I don't know if you've ever seen John Cena, how he does it, where he like, maybe I should pull it up, but it's like, if anyone hasn't seen it, it's like he follows a million people and then a million people follow him. He follows a
Uh-huh.
million people and he has 14 million followers.
Wow. Wow.
So John Cena is kind of a unique one. He actually follows me. I'm one of the 1 million. But I really haven't seen too many people with like these big follower accounts like you. Can you tell me a little bit more? Like, how did that actually happen? Like, it was like, how did even the previous company even have a million followers?
That's a good question. Like I said, for my last company, Hello Vacay, we were just doing a little bit of basic influencer marketing with them. They had built it up over a number of years just by really kind of more Instagram style, lots of beautiful pictures, different locations, and talking to one of the people there, they weren't really using it anymore, weren't posting, and so we took it over. Like I said, we've really kind of changed the direction on how that's going to go. So
Mhm.
it's going from really touristy stuff to much more global mobility for the longer term. And so just building it step by step here. But like I said, not huge engagement on there yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, and that's fair. I'm just curious about like how the heck, like what travel brand even had a million followers? And not because I need you to tell me the name, but I'm more just like what like nobody has that. What is
They
like
were they were super early on X, on Twitter, like just lifestyle travel. Like they were, within the first few years, and just were one of. I mean, it's funny because there's all kinds of interesting people that follow the account even before we took it over. Um, I mean, Eric Trump, all kinds of people like that just, I think, were really in it just because, and you see some other big travel accounts like that too. Maybe not. I mean, I don't know how many are over 1 million, but certainly you see some that are hundreds of thousands, some probably over a million that are just
in the travel
people.
niche? Almost, I was like, how many does Travel Massive have? 37K, and like I'm like in the travel niche, not too many
Yeah.
people have
Yeah.
these big
Yeah.
follower accounts.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you that it was all because of my amazing tweet performance, but it definitely isn't.
Wild. I wonder. I'm like, you probably had the best cost per acquisition, like per like 1 cent a follower. I don't know what you paid or how you structure the deal or whatever. But I imagine
Yeah.
you got a good deal on a per follower basis.
Yeah, I would say so. I'd say so.
And have you DM'd them all yet? And
No,
let them know what you're up to.
not yet. Not yet.
You're gonna need a full time DM setter.
I know you're right. You're right. If you got any good solutions on how to do that quickly, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I can tell you that you do not want multiple people logged in to the same Twitter at the same time. Very easy way to lose your account.
Mm,
Because I have a previously someone paid me to grow their Twitter because like I'm obsessed with Twitter. Ours is like 40K. So I grew someone else's Twitter, and then they hired a guy from Venezuela to like do some of the tweeting too, like in
uh-huh.
addition to me. And then we were logging in from different locations, and the account got suspended, and we haven't been able to get it.
Wow. Wow. That sucks, man. I haven't heard that. Thank you for letting me know. I don't. At one time, I did have someone that was doing a little posting from the account, but I stopped it. We have another account that's just used more for marketing stuff now, where we have someone that kind of took it over. But yeah, I actually really like your content. Your content is, for nomad lifestyle, is particularly good, like and useful. So I actually enjoy your content.
Thank you, thank you. Feel free to fluff me up a little bit. How long you been following for?
I think I just found your account like within the last few months. And that was only because I just wasn't actively looking yet for those kinds of accounts. But once I did, I came across yours pretty quickly. And there's just not for you know remote work and travel, there's not a lot of like great accounts that are really posting on a regular basis, like super useful, practical information. And so, yeah, I'm always checking out your content. I think it's great.
Thank you, thank you. And are you kind of doing what's kind of your plan for getting people to know about Nomados, Nomad OS? What's kind of the plan? Because it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, right? Where you have this amazing platform, you're going to build it out. I guess you'll have to tell people. Maybe we should tell people what it is first, and
Yeah.
give us the rocket pitch here.
Yeah, certainly. So we are creating what we know to be the first kind of comprehensive AI assistant for the nomad lifestyle. And it's really broken up into three primary parts. One is a decision engine to help people decide based on all of their preferences where they should go next. And so what we've done is indexed a lot of data out there and created, you know, matrices behind the scenes, all with the help of AI to help people decide where they want to go. Second is to launch into that location. Although we're very early in the process, we just launched our MVP. Ultimately, that launch section will be really useful in terms of planning and logistics for visas, duration, alert, avoiding overstays, um, Wi-Fi, just anything and everything as someone actually enters a given destination or country. And then lastly, a comprehensive marketplace. We found that the space is really fragmented on the solutions. There are some good apps out there. There's some good technology, but what we think is there needs to be more solutions under one roof. So it's kind of a one stop shop
Uh-huh.
for all of those various things, starting with the core kind of fundamental things like visa, health insurance, Wi-Fi. But ultimately, we'll be adding a lot of things, and we may even eventually take on like kind of third party services and offers as well in that marketplace.
Okay. Well, bro, get me in there. We got all the services that people need.
Absolutely, yeah.
So basically, sort of AI powered, what do you have, like chatbot prompt engine that people can interact with, and marketplace. That's kind of the.
Yeah, and then really behind the scenes, we're really data focused. So the AI is not just for a fun chat with a helpful AI assistant, but ultimately we're really working on learning the user's preferences, learning the way that they live and work remotely, and then and really serving up just in time data. So again, very early in the MVP process,
Mhm.
but these are the things we're working towards. The other thing is, there's just so much damn friction, as you know better than anyone, related to the nomad lifestyle. And it's not just one thing; it's a lot of little things, right? Like
Mhm.
when you talk about visa, when you talk about health, when you talk about Wi-Fi, and you posted something recently that I thought was great about why aren't people publishing Wi-Fi scoring speeds? Like hotels, Airbnbs. These are the kinds of things that should exist that don't exist to reduce that friction.
Yeah.
So where we see it going is one really focused on gathering data, learning the preferences of our users, and two, how can we automate some of these processes to reduce that
Mhm.
friction? We're not gonna be able to do all these things overnight, but the way we look at it is focus on these core things like visa and reducing the friction there. Obviously, the laws are changing all over the world, and all these different countries, you know, pretty commonly, and so keeping up with those changes, and then really acting as an AI assistant for nomads, not just conceptually but practically.
And taking a step back, you mentioned you've been in the travel space for a pretty long time, right? Could you
Yeah.
give me a little bit of the background and for the benefit of the audience as well, and how that's kind of informed, your decision to start Nomados?
Yeah. So I have been in the travel industry, I guess, well, about 14 years or so now. So it's been a long ride. Originally, we were, dealing with points management for folks that own travel related points, helping them optimize and monetize those points. That was a company that grew really fast. And ended up having a successful exit with that company, and then started a company called Hello Vacay, actually in 2016. Took us a while to kind of figure out the right model there, but ultimately we became an outsourced marketing and sales solution for independent resorts, vacation resorts. That was going well. Was thriving right up until COVID, and the COVID asteroid hit, kind of overnight, and just really, as you can imagine, wiped us and a whole lot of other folks out for the better part of 2 years. So I had a company where I had employees. We were growing. I had a big nice office here in Orange County, California, and overnight had to reconsider everything. Also, at the time was really even before November of 2022, which is the time frame we all know where Chat GPT became big. Even before that, I really was kind of following what was going on with AI with great interest,
Hmm.
and so that was already an interesting thing to me. But of course, COVID also acted as a catalyst for a change in lifestyle. It was this kind of, as you know, this convergence of, COVID hit, and people were no longer in the office as much. But then things like Zoom were coming out. That, I mean, these technologies existed before, but Zoom, simplified it. A lot of the tools we use every day, with work, to be able to work remotely, we're really starting to flesh out and becoming, super easy to work remotely. So that confluence of that catalyst of COVID with all the technology that was emerging, I think has been a really big part of this nomad movement. And so that became really interesting to me I already had the interest in AI. Ultimately, started building some technology. Started working with some big partners in the travel industry at the time. Still had a few years where I was after COVID, where I was kind of fleshing out what we're doing. Ultimately, met my co-founder, um, who was at Google as in a senior role as a director of engineering for 4 years prior, and he was also living nomadically with his family. Had done traveled to many countries in recent years with his family. He saw some of the same friction points that I did, and we started working together, and finally here at a point where we're launching some things.
And so you were doing those like 7 to 10 day type vacations, like all inclusive vacations. Is that what I'm
Well,
gathering?
the first company I started, Resort
The head of
Share, was
resort
was
share.
was dealing with travel points and the management of those points and
In a
optimizing.
resort context?
Yeah, it
How do you
was
get points
actually
for resort?
this was actually timeshare points.
Timeshare points.
So there
Yes.
was a bunch of timeshare owners that owned way too many points.
Points is like
Unfortunately,
it's like when you own a timeshare, you get like a week per year or whatever, and those are considered points.
yeah, timeshare originally started out as kind of like these fixed weeks, and
Uh-huh.
what happened is they started to introduce more and more flexibility.
You like
Timeshare is an
trade your week or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's interesting because the product's actually really good. The means by which it's sold is not really good. It's kind of this a little bit of this kind of car sales mentality that unfortunately is pervasive in that industry.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty
Uh,
infamous.
yeah. So a lot of people
Like
know
you
about
go to
that, but
they'll be like it'd be like attend the seminar for a free lunch, and then all the people would go for the free lunch or whatever, and then
exactly,
they get
yeah.
hard sold.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. We're gonna give you Disney World Hopper passes when you're in Orlando. We're gonna, all of those incentives exist to get them in presentations. Then they beat them over the head to, like, while they're trying to drink a margarita. Um, so, um, so what we said at the time was we really like the product, which are these kind of condo style properties with bedrooms and kitchens and washers and dryers. Actually, really nice properties, but we want to isolate the product and kind of solve the problem. So there were all of these timeshare owners that owned way too many of these points. We approached them and said, "Hey, we're going to act as a property manager for you. We're gonna optimize your point usage. We're gonna manage everything for you. Then we're gonna take and rent out all of those unused points for you to offset your yearly maintenance fees, which
Hmm.
are the taxes, insurance, upkeep, all of that."
Hmm.
And it turns out that was the right. I mean, we definitely had product market fit. Let's put it that way. We were one of the fastest growing private companies in the country at the time.
Hmm.
It just really, we had a tiger by the tail with that. So we got lucky in a sense, but it was the right solution for the right problem. And so that was
Basically,
Resort
basically
Share.
selling people selling off their timeshare
Yeah,
entitlements or their timeshare
yeah,
weeks that they weren't going to use.
yeah. Think about it like this: points represent a percentage of ownership. So I
Uh-huh.
have X amount of points. If I'm a Wyndham owner, I may have over 1 million points, and I might be a VIP Platinum owner. And so I can use those points to book vacations. Unfortunately, a lot of them were oversold on how many points that they had. But they had paid all of this money and have all these benefits and all these points. And so what we did is said, we'll manage it for you. You get a 50% discount on point usage. If you do this, you get free upgrades. We'll optimize everything for you. We're going to save as many points as we can, because we can then book other rental properties.
Hmm.
We can rent that out, and we'll give you a percentage. We'll split the rental income with you.
Hmm.
And so that was a very attractive, and still, that business is still very big today. So
Interesting. And that you're saying that kind of molded into something else, or that molded
yeah,
into the second
yeah.
business?
Yeah, right. So we started kind of doing that on a larger scale with Hello Vacay. After that, I had an exit with Resort Share. We started doing it with Hello Vacay after that for resorts, which had a similar problem on a larger scale in that they were kind of an aggregate for all of these owners that had too much ownership. These resorts, these HOA boards for these resorts have the same problem where they're getting back inventory from an aging population of owners. And so we would approach the HOA boards for the resorts and say, "Hey, we'll manage that for you. We'll offer a solution so that they don't have all of that non-performing inventory." Because what happens, Vance, is these resorts end up getting all of this inventory back from owners that don't want to pay the maintenance fees on it anymore. And so they have this mounting liability with the taxes and the insurance and the upkeep for the resort. And so we came in as a solution to solve that. And like I said, that business was growing, going very well right up until COVID, when everything really changed. COVID was an interesting thing in that it forced me to take a step back and kind of, look around and say, what business do I want to be in? Is this really the business I want to be in? Is the management, the marketing of this product? The answer was no. And so I knew I wanted to develop some technology. I knew I was interested in AI. And ultimately, I saw this kind of emerging market of, people living the nomad lifestyle. And so that's why we're here.
That's cool. Is that how you got so rich? People can't see you on video, but you got a pretty nice house there, man. What's going on?
I am not rich, although we're working on it.
This is audio only. Don't worry, but like the trim and the paintings, like you got a good spot, man. Does every
Hey man,
house in California look like that?
I probably would want your lifestyle. Where'd you say you are in the world right now?
I'm somewhere in Europe.
Portugal.
I'm somewhere in Europe.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We won't narrow it down to the country.
That's cool. So do you do something on the side? I'm actually kind of curious, or how do you? Because California is not expensive or not cheap.
Yeah, it definitely isn't cheap. Yeah, especially here in Orange County. I've lived here in Orange County, you know, most of my adult life. I actually grew up on the East Coast, but um, I, uh, I moved here, many years ago, and yeah, it's not cheap, but I have worked really hard. I've had a few successes. I've had a lot more failures than I've had successes, as probably a lot of your audience can relate to. But that's all it's been for me, man. Is like I'm by far not a billionaire, but the main thing is I'm fairly comfortable. I really enjoy what we're building. Even if I was a billionaire, I'd be doing the same thing
Yeah,
every day, which is like building something. There's nothing
totally,
more fun and rewarding than that.
totally. I'm just messing with you. I really love the trim of your place, dude. By the way,
Oh,
I like
thanks,
the
man.
color. I like the yellow, the white. It's good.
Thanks,
Okay,
man.
so let's get into Nomad OS a little bit. So let's talk about the journey of being an entrepreneur and kind of finding the product market fit there. Because I think a lot of digital nomads have had similar ideas. I've heard of lots of people trying to create, social apps for digital nomads to like bring them together and like this and that. And most things in this space don't work. And it's kind of a very funny thing where digital nomads are very technical by and large, more than the average
Right.
population, certainly. And
Right.
a lot of them can code. A lot of them have ideas for startups, certainly in this space. But I don't see too many success stories. Why do you think that is?
It's a great question, and I think that may be more. It's one thing to be technical and know how to code. Um, it's but starting businesses are just inherently hard, right? Like just in general. I mean, nomad lifestyle or not, they're hard. It's hard to get traction. It takes, as you know, a lot of time and a lot of money, a lot of iteration.
Right.
Um,
But
and and
nomads specifically, it's like they're not really. Nobody is getting like. Sorry, I hit my mic there. Nobody's getting like critical mass in terms of product market fit on a lot of these platforms. You have Nomad List, um, you know, there's like a couple of
Yeah.
things that are doing like, that are profitable or doing okay, but
Yeah.
like the ratio of like starts to successes is worse than like most industries. And I
Yeah.
don't know why
Yeah.
digital nomads are still so fragmented when there's so many builders and people with product
Yeah.
management expertise, and a lot of people have attempted to bring products to market in this space, and
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of them haven't really hit.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really valid and interesting question, and I can't say I have all the answers for why other apps have not done well out there. I do agree with you. There seems to be very few that have floated for a long time. I also, just speaking candidly, you know, I feel I haven't seen a lot. I know people code things, but I haven't seen a lot of apps that just dazzled me. Like, you
Mm,
know what I mean? Like that, they're like, oh, this is really solving the problem here. And I think when it
yeah.
comes to like, accommodations, people are using Airbnb and using, other things. Um, and as you mentioned, Nomad List is a great source for nomad data. So I think some of the apps like Airbnb people are using that aren't just related to nomads, but are broader, particularly on the accommodation side. Um, as I mentioned, from our perspective, everything that we've seen out there, for the most part, seems to be these kind of isolated solutions. And
Yeah.
from our perspective, what we'd like to work to build is something that's more comprehensive from start to finish.
Hmm.
It's decide, launch, market, um, and each one of those we want to really provide a solution that hasn't existed. But even on like the marketplace side, it's like, again, I see a solution over here for accommodations. I see a solution somewhere else for Wi-Fi. I see, another solution for health insurance over here. What I don't see is everything under one roof, kind of a one-stop shop that makes it easy to add these things.
Hmm.
And if anything, we want to really reduce the friction. We really want to make it easy, all in one place for the nomad lifestyle. And I do agree with you. I don't know why that is. I mean, I think I think apps like nomads.com, obviously you've got, personality there with Peter Levels that, he's developed a lot of community. Um, and so I think you can attribute part of his success to that. And community and market, distribution is so important. So you have people out there that are sometimes good at coding, but if they don't have the distribution side,
Yeah.
then they're up a creek.
Yeah. I see on your website you kind of recognize this idea that nomads lose hundreds of hours a year to planning and logistics, and that is absolutely true. And one thing I've learned is that travel actually is a skill. Like
Right.
knowing how to book a good hotel is a skill. Knowing how to, just like just for everything to run smoothly
Yeah.
it really is a skill, because if you travel with someone that's never traveled before, or they're
Yep.
less experienced, they're
Yep.
just causing problems all the time. Their
Yep.
phone doesn't work, they're locked out of their bank card, they don't know how to
Yep.
transfer you the money.
Yep.
You say, hey man, can you book the hotel this week, and
Yep.
the choices they give you are super dumb. So it really is kind of a skill, and hopefully you can kind of like democratize it a little bit more.
Yeah. No, I love that insight, and I think you posted about it recently, if I recall, about how travel is really a skill. I think that's a brilliant insight, and it's so true, right? Like, I mean, these things, and it's not because someone's necessarily not smart enough or what have you, but maybe they just haven't done it enough.
Experience, yeah, it comes with
Yeah,
time.
a lot of it is experiential. Um, and for someone like you that's lived the lifestyle for so long and been like a hardcore like nomad out in the world living that life, like you probably, I mean, if you reflect on the education you've had over the years, like do this, don't do this. Like it's probably you're probably very different. So yeah, I think it's an educational process. Part of what we want to do is educate folks, but part of it is we just want to reduce the friction and make it easier for people by serving up those things just in time for them. I think the other thing that's going to happen to Vance that we both know is already happening is you have countries that are also trying to make the process easier with nomad visas and that kind of thing. I think
Mhm.
there's about 58 countries right now that offer nomad,
58.
yeah, and
Crazy.
nomad visas, and that number is growing. So I think there's going to be kind of this confluence of technology getting better, automation getting better, countries getting more enthusiastic about making it easier for nomads to come, and and hopefully that will start to bridge that gap that you're talking about that definitely exists. Um,
Yeah. Have
and
you heard of random question, sorry to interrupt. Have you heard
yeah.
of I think it's Lumia, and they're trying to create this like cross-border digital nomad visa. So it's like if you get one digital nomad visa, it counts for multiple countries. There's this lady, I forget her name, Lauren or something. She's kind of like a famous digital nomad,
Mm.
and they're building something like this, and they've been on it for a little while. Um,
It's like a global embassy kind of thing.
sort of like a global digital nomad visa.
Yeah.
Lumina, I don't know. I'll find it. I mean, as we
Yeah,
keep
no,
the
please let me know. I haven't checked that one out. One of our partners is doing something.
Plumia, Plumia, a policy
PLU.
framework for migration in the age of remote work. Yeah, and they're trying to
Okay.
like work directly with governments to make this sort of international-ish digital nomad visa. That's my understanding of it. The lady's name is Lauren Rezavi. She's pretty well known. I think she attends a lot of the conferences and stuff like that. So I think that'd be a good reach out for you.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I will check it out. Another company that's doing some interesting things. That's actually a partner of ours on the health insurance offering is Safety Wing.
Hmm.
Safety Wing is doing some interesting things where they are working to become this kind of global embassy offering this product. Now I don't know how many offerings are included in that. I think Visa is part of it, and obviously insurance is another part of it. So I don't know how comprehensive that is, but I think they're doing some interesting things there as well. They have something that they just launched related to it.
Yeah, I know. You wanted to talk a little bit more about the future of mobility in this conversation here today, and so with the remaining time we have left, we got like 10 minutes till our hard stop. I would love to hear your thoughts on kind of the future of global mobility, how Nomados plays into that, how digital nomads as a whole play into the future of global mobility, and what you kind of see happening.
Yeah, we think through a combination of some of the factors I was talking about a few minutes ago that that AI is going to go a long way towards automation and compliance and some of these things being more proactive
Mhm.
for nomads. So if you think about not just having to always input to get a an output with AI, but rather it kind of working on your behalf. So two factors that I think are important there is one is the AI really understanding the user, and two, automation to help the nomad with a lot of these tasks. And to your point about travel really being a skill, I think that's so true, and I think we can help bridge the gap. Like I said, I do think countries are going to start to make it easier and easier as they realize it's a real income windfall for them to make it easier for nomads to come, particularly in countries where they have, a lot of countries have a decreasing population right now, and they need to subsidize and supplement um, uh, all of that loss there. So I hope in the next, within the next 10 years, and I think this is what's going to happen is through technology and through global governments finding out how attractive this is to bring, you know, folks in that are spending money in their country. I think we're just going to become a much more uh, everything's just going to become much more global anyway, and that's my hope. But we're going to work every day. It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to work every day to just make this process easier for nomads. And you also have a lot of people that are kind of waiting in the wings right now that are really scared to do what nomads have done. So there's a lot of people that are aspiring nomads that haven't taken that first step yet.
Sure.
But we want to reduce that big obstacle, which largely is in people's heads, like, where do I even start? Where would I go? How do I get the proper visa? What kind of visa do I apply for?
Mhm.
Like all of these things, there's kind of a million things we could go through that are these friction points. So one after another, we're going to work to solve some of those friction points and make it easier for people to take that first step as well.
Random question, probably the last question before we get to wrapping up, but where do you think world schooling fits into this? You've probably heard of world schooling, right?
Mhm.
Kind of like teaching your kids or homeschooling while you're living abroad and traveling the world. How do you see that? Do you have a future? Do you see how that might fit into Nomados?
I think education is a really important part of all of this, whether it's people, understanding, how easy it can be to take those first steps. And in terms of children and their education, I think we both would agree that that's just one of the best educations someone can get is travel and seeing how different cultures live. Um, you know, in the world, you see the most ignorance in these bubbles where people have not ever left their own town, right? Um, so I think that's going to become more and more popular. I think people see that it's not just about a good time, going to different places in the world. It's about education. It's about seeing how other people live. It's about broadening your horizons on just tolerance and accepting people and I think sometimes in a rich country like the US is like realizing how much privilege we do have in this country, um, and that just makes you a better person.
Mhm. Yeah, part of it's yearning towards something, and part of it's just escape. Like I wouldn't put my kids in the California public school system.
Right, right.
Like
Yeah,
it's crazy. And so you that's part of why homeschooling is becoming more and more popular.
I 100% agree. Like, I likewise, I don't have any kids, but if that time ever comes, I would not want to put them in the public school system either. Like, absolutely not. Like, why would I subject my kids to what's going on out there? So, um, I agree. Yeah, it's not just a different kind of education.
That's why
It's
your
taking
house
them
is
out
so
of the
nice, bro. You gotta have some kids.
and then, yeah, and then I'll take it down a notch.
There'd be more, marks on the wall and stuff. Um, no, no, definitely a conversation for another day. But you should definitely think about how that fits into things because that's kind of the evolution that I'm seeing is like digital nomad to expat to retiree, and
Yeah,
the expat part is actually like the majority of that lifespan, right? The people who are like
yeah,
35 to 55, they have kids of all of all
yep.
different ages, and they need to be addressed too.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's really interesting. There's all these kinds of, the hard thing for us is we see so many things to solve here, and we only have so much bandwidth. It's like, but I think the educational part of this is really
Uh-huh.
important. There's these kind of adjacent markets, like like you're talking about, which is nomad lifestyle, but it's now, I used to think 15 years ago, if you would have said nomad to me, I would have thought just about the guy that's taking
Right.
a
The
gap
young
year
single
out,
guys.
yeah, with a backpack, like
Right.
going to Europe, like that would have been how I would have answered that. Now you've got all of these different subsegments, these niches of even nomad lifestyle, and the demographics are so wildly different. You have people that are living, fully in hostels and super cheap on a dime, and then you have people that are wealthier, nomad lifestyle. You have families, you have all of these different segments of it, and so for us, it's
Right.
like trying to figure out which problems to solve first.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, you kind of do have to pick one, but it really runs the range. I mean, we do visas for families, we do visas for retirees,
Yep.
we do visas for young guys. So I think there's something for everybody in Latin America. There's something for everybody abroad, or making money online, being a nomad, etc. So
Right.
we will need to get to wrapping up. I have joined the Nomados waitlist. When this episode comes out in about a month from now, who knows if what things are going to look like. But if we're still going to be waitlist, or maybe we'll have a little launch going. But why don't you tell people where they can find
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
A little last message for the audience.
Yeah. What I would ask folks to do is to go to nomados.ai, watch the video that's there on the landing page, but please sign up for the wait list. We're really working super diligently around the clock to solve some of these problems and to make it easier for you to live the lifestyle. But in terms of the wait list, we already started taking on users before, and then we went back to optimize for mobile, just because that's obviously such an important part.
Mm,
With over 70% of the users going on mobile, and we weren't quite prepared for that piece. We are now, so we're expecting next week to kind of do a second phase relaunch, and so we're not talking about a month from now. We're talking about next week. We're going to do a relaunch. So for all of you that can, please join the waitlist. I would love to hear directly from anyone. Like I'm hopping on Google Meets, on Zooms with nomads, and I'm just trying to get some feedback here. My question to anyone is, like, how in the hell can I help you? Like I want to know, like, what is the thing that's just bugging the shit out of you as a nomad, that's making it really hard, because we really want to spend time and energy and money solving that problem. So if you do sign up for the wait list, as I hope you do, um, then please, after you start using the app, you'll find that it's an early MVP version. Hopefully, there's some things about it you like. We have a long roadmap of things that we want to work on, but more than us just kind of working on things in a vacuum, as you can imagine, we want to iterate based on what nomads are telling us. And so, I would love to have a direct conversation with anyone that's open to it.
love it. So this has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Again, our guest today, nomados.ai, Ryan Beecham. Guys, sign up for the wait list. Download the app if by the time you're listening to this, the app's launched, whatever. Wait list, link in the description to Ryan's million follower Twitter. Go check that out. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Ciao for now.